Cogz coming to you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new iGear Mini Warrior MW-05 Cogz, which is their take on the G1 character known as Gears. That lovable, grumpy, complaining, never really happy and hates just about everything guy that originally came to us with the rest of the Autobots on the Ark. Some of my friends liken me to Gears, so I guess having a little figure like this is kind of amusing, at least in that respect. But here you have the box, typical packaging from iGear. Not too bad. You got the Mini Warriors, warning, come on to the top, Mini Warriors, to four-wheel drive off-roader and back again, and obviously the tagline, till all are fun. Then you come around here to the back, and you got the nice wire image of the robot mode, vehicle mode, and his gun, and it says a little bio here talking about Cogz, and it says what a lot of people don't understand is that Cogz was a failed stand-up comedian. Upon reaching Earth, he read a book about galactic hitchhiking and realized if he played the role of a grumpy and dejected robot, he could entertain and distract his fellow bots. Even his power chip rectifier is amusing, giving him the ability to launch himself 100,000 feet into the air, but giving him zero ability to land safely. Now, I don't actually know where that comes from. I'll show that off here in when we take a look at the actual figure. It's actually only in his robot mode that you see it, but I don't quite understand it because in terms of the cartoon, he never had that little jetpack thing, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But there's the packaging for him, so without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Cogz open up and out of its packaging, and as you can see, just like with all the other iGear figures, you did get this nice collector card with the credit card thickness. Very nice. One thing you're noticing though, the colors aren't exactly correct, which is one of my minor kind of nitpicks, I suppose. Then you come around here to the back, you got the same wire images of him in his robot mode and vehicle mode, and then you got his technical data there. He also obviously does come with his instructions, but here you have him, and it's actually a really nice looking figure. I do like him. Now, one thing that I mentioned on Twitter, if you guys follow me over there, is that while I do like these figures, I don't think they're necessarily the home runs that we've gotten previously. My biggest, I guess, complaint on this guy would really be the coloring. Now, they went with a very light blue and a kind of light red. And as you can see in the card, you got a very dark blue. Well, not dark blue, but a darker blue and a darker red. That's a lot more reminiscent of how he looked in the actual cartoon. The blue was a much darker color. The red was a much darker color. So my complaint, I suppose, would be along the lines that I really hope that iGear doesn't do constant re-releases like what they did with Rager, where they released one version where it was kind of reminiscent of his cartoon and then another one that was reminiscent of his actual toy. That's one thing that'll bug me. If they send this out in the future with a darker blue and a darker red, that's really the one that I would want to have. So having gotten this would annoy me. Now, in terms of his accessories, he does come with this little triple barrel kind of gun that can peg right in, well, it's kind of tight. Get in there. Why? Well, alright, it's absolutely not going in there at all, and I don't know why, but you see the hole in his gun. It's not fitting, but that's where it's supposed to go. But I mean, here's his vehicle mode. I mean, it rolls. One thing is the wheels are really tight on this, so he doesn't roll as well, I guess, as I would like him to, but it's not bad. It's a nice representation of his all-terrain vehicle. It's a little bit more blocky, much more reminiscent of the actual toy than the actual character in the cartoon. And that's even something that you notice in the robot mode. So to transform it, what you want to do first, come around here to the bottom, and the easiest way to do it is kind of, at least from what I've discovered, kind of separate the legs, and then you have to pull this up. You have this little tab section right here that sometimes can cause a problem. If you separate it, it's a little bit easier, and then just kind of pull on this so it clears that little plastic bit there. Then you can rotate the leg all the way around, and then you have these little bits right here to just straighten that all the way out. And then this section, or if you want to, you can just put that up right now if you want. And then this one, it's a little bit easier. You can actually rotate the waist here and make it a little easier to unhook this leg. So do that on this side as well. Rotate that around. Then you got his little feet. Fold it. Oh, wrong way. Fold that out like so. Very nice. And here you have his legs done. Now, the arms here are a little bit fiddly. They kind of are annoying. First, you want to take this section here. Well, take this whole section and pull these out as far as you can. One thing that I've noticed on this is that it's very tight in a lot of different aspects. That's a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose. It's kind of annoying because you're not really able to pull it as well and you're kind of fighting things. But I'd rather it be too tight than loose, I suppose. Then just rotate these, kind of get them up and out of the way. Then you want to take these little side panels, and these are going to rotate up, kind of filling in the sides. And what's really kind of cool is that they're little missiles. And you want to take this, rotate this back around, kind of get these arms out of the way. And then again, this part is actually kind of tough. You have to take this entire section and rotate it all the way around, and it's very stiff on mine. So then you get it like so, straighten everything out, then rotate these arms, fold this all the way out, rotate these arms down, straighten it out like that. And here you have Cogz in his robot mode. Now, he is a very clunky figure, and again, much like the robot or the vehicle mode, I do have a problem with the colors. And the other thing that you're coming across and seeing more of is that the joints, like the thighs and his elbows and even his head, have this darker gray plastic. I would prefer if that was a lighter gray to replicate that cartoon look as well. Now, the other part is I really think his shoulders here, or the connection, it looks weird. I'm not a big fan of how that looks. It's not atrocious or anything, but it just, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a nice looking figure, but it again isn't the home run that we've gotten previously with a lot of the iGear stuff. I've really been a big fan of theirs ever since they've really started creating their own molds and things instead of just taking masterpiece figures and scaling them down. To me, those were always just knockoffs. These are legit, individually designed figures by them, and I really do appreciate that. And ever since they started doing that, I've really enjoyed them. But it's, like I said, not a home run. And one thing that is really cool, you do have the option of 2 different heads. Zooming in so that you can see that. This is more in line with his cartoon look, and then you just rotate this around, and now you have how his head looked on the original G1 toy. So again, it's personal preference, and then just rotating that back. And that's kind of gets stuck in there. I mean, I really do dig that, and you can sort of get a little bit of a turning action with it. You just obviously don't want to go too far. And then again with this gun, now all the pictures depict him holding the gun on the bottom of his hand, which to me, that's a personal preference kind of thing. I don't really care too much for his gun. It's not something that really impresses me all that much, especially when it's positioned like that. I prefer my guns instead of underhanded. You can put it through the top, and I just think that looks much better in terms of a display option, I think. Now, as I talked about before, he has these thrusters that you can't get to them in the vehicle mode. You have to lift it here, and you have these little guys, and they kind of flop around. I honestly don't know the purpose of it. Now, I went to actually Wikipedia, and then it says that in robot mode, Gears can actually release controlled bursts of compressed air, but it says that it's done from his feet, which allows him to propel himself 100,000 feet into the air. So, I mean, I'm guessing that's what that's in reference to, but again, that was never something that was showed in the cartoon. So where that comes from, I'm not 100% sure. I never had a G1 Gears to know if that was something that they put in the actual toy, or specifically the toy bio. So, But in terms of his, the rest of his articulation, get that out of the way. The arms here will rotate all the way around, but once you come around to the back, there's a lot of junk in the way. So he rotates here at the shoulder. He also can move in and out. He's got a joint here at the elbow, and then he's got a ball joint just a little bit below that. So decent articulation, but it is kind of limited by all the extra hanging out bits. He will rotate at the waist, moves forward and back just on swivel joints here at the hips. He also rotates at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee, and then the feet themselves have a little bit of pivot. And you can see that he's positioned, or he's molded in this spread leg kind of pose, so you don't have to worry about too much, but he does get a lot of feet stabilization with how big and clunky those little fellas are. But he really isn't all that bad. Like I said, he's not a home run for him, but he's a good figure to have. Now, for a size comparison, here he is. And here you have him next to another mini warrior kind of figure, and that's Hench. And again, you can see that these guys are going to be scaled properly because they were mini bots in Transformers. But looking at more official Transformers, here you have him next to Lambor or Sideswipe. And again, nice scale coming across here because he should be smaller than this guy. But to really kind of demonstrate just how small this guy is, here you have him next to Optimus Prime. Now, again, he's a much more bulky figure. In the cartoon, he was a far more lanky guy. But this is about right for his scale. He came up just a little bit above his knee, and that's about what Cogz does. So this, again, another wonderful scale that really makes me feel good about putting him with the rest of my Masterpiece figures. Now to transform him back, just come around here to these arms. Gonna rotate these around, and again, just kind of put those arms out, just get them out of the way. Then you want to take this section on the back, spin this around. The tightness of this really makes it difficult to make sure that you get it lined up properly because you push too far and it goes too far off to the side, and it's really kind of tough to get it lined up perfectly. And that's still not right. And that's a little too far now the other side, so like that. Now there we go, that's good. Then come around here, lift these up, get them out of the way, then take these little panels here, rotate these back, hiding those little tiny missiles. Bring this down. You're gonna take these arms, you're just gonna fold them down like so. Then take the side panels here, kind of straighten out his head, push them all the way in. Do that on this side too. Again, very stiff. Make sure that you get that in there right. And then sometimes I don't have it lined up properly here, so straighten that out. Pull the gun out to, well, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna pull out a pair of tweezers just to get this arm out of the way because it didn't want to go in straight. So then rotate these down, tuck that in like so. There we go, just like that. And you come around here to this section, you're gonna bend one leg, pull it over this little extra blue bit right here, just like that. Oh, I forgot to actually rotate these feet around. Come on, there we go, just like that. Do that on this side as well. Rotate the feet around first though, Paul. There we go. Bring that in, bring that over. And then once you get that lined up, then you can push these two sides together, kind of squeeze everything in, rotate this down. I like rotating it to where it's angled down just a little bit going inward, and here you have Cogz back in his vehicle mode. Now, as I said, Cogz is a really nice figure, but not as good as I honestly had hoped. The other problem that I have with this figure is that he's $55. Now, for the most part, that's not that bad of a price, considering it's a third-party figure, and he's about deluxe size or so. But Hench, which really isn't much bigger than this guy, or smaller I should say, was only $40. I don't really understand the need to increase the price 15 bucks. If this guy was $40, he would be much better in terms of value. 55 is a little bit too much, I honestly think. Still a good figure, and my only major complaints really are the coloring on him. And no matter what, I am happy that I picked him up. I just think, like I said, that $55 price is a little bit too high. Now, if you do want to get this guy at a little bit cheaper of a price, you can order the 2-pack, which includes this figure and their MW-08 Bushwhacker, which is a repaint of the Hench figure. Those two figures are $85, which means you can get him for $42. That's a little bit better of a price, but then you're stuck with Bushwhacker, who some people may not necessarily want. Now my recommendation would be to get that 2-pack and try selling off that Bushwhacker figure, because there will be fans of that would be happy to take them off your hands and kind of offset that cost so that you don't have to worry about it too much. That honestly would be my full recommendation for this and what you guys really should do. So if you are interested in picking them up, go ahead, click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store and you'll be able to pick up this guy as well as the Bushwhacker, as I said, and then find somebody to buy that Bushwhacker. But that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed your look at the new iGear Mini Warrior MW-05 Cogz. And until next time, this has been Optibotimus. Keep in touch with me. Find out recent purchases as well as all upcoming video reviews all at facebook.com/teambotimus, and follow me over on Twitter at twitter.com/optibotimus. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.